So as soon as the borders open, yep, you guessed it, my team and I headed straight down to the Burning West to see what the gang in the West were up to. So as we near the end of the season, we wanted to bring you some new and exciting content, and we caught up with some new faces and some familiar ones. So tonight we're meeting with Semi Lotawa, one half of the duo of Rise Beyond the Reef, and he's taking us to a community in Ba where they're showing us how they're using new technologies such as biogas and the Traseable Farms App to advance their farming game. So stay tuned, that's coming up tonight. Semi and Janet Lotawa have developed their foundation Rise Beyond the Reef on the concept of Sole Solevaki. Last week we visited a village in Ba and caught up with Semi to learn more about how they're utilizing new technology such as biogas and Traseable Solutions Traseable Farms App to advance their farming game.
So, Shania, Bula, and here we are in Lotawa. According to the sugarcane sector, this is Moto sector. The locality of the area is called Lotawa. Majority of these areas are sugarcane farm communities, and what you can see behind you, these are all second, third generation sugarcane farmers, and they've been planting sugarcane all of their life. They grew up in sugarcane farms, and we are now at a stage to one of the cassava farm, with the support of funding that Rise Beyond the Reef got from PFON, which is like an IFED IFED funded project. They supported us to look into communities that have supported them during the COVID. And one of the initiative that we came out was to start to diversify from sugarcane, a monocropping practice, to start to move on into intercropping. Having still sugarcane, but plant some other agriculture commodities that are suitable, that can also they can rely on during as part of their response to COVID. So the model that they use in here is they came together. All sugarcane farmers decided, let's keep our sugarcane, let's move into other crops, and one of the crops they chose is cassava. And the reason why they chose cassava, it's a readily available planting material. Everybody grew up planting cassava, and everybody eats cassava, but there's also a big opportunity of cassava in the export market, frozen to Australia, New Zealand, United States. And instead of planting cassava for subsistence, let's plant cassava, a crop that we are familiar with, into a semi-commercial and start to look at the export market. So one of the tools that they use is the Sole Solevaki. As you can see in here, this is 2 acres of cassava. And with this number of people that are here, they planted these 2 acres in one day. The sourcing of the planting material, the planting, all in one day, because you have this. And that's the power of Sole Solevaki, coming together for a greater good beyond just oneself. If a farmer tries to plant its own cassava for this size, probably it's going to take them a week or so. But with Sole Solevaki, with everybody coming together, they're able to do that. So with the support from PFON and FOACP, we help them in the land prep. And we also, along as we were doing land prep and planting, we also did an assessment, a baseline for the farmers. And that's when we use a tool that was also being supported by IFED. It's called the Traseable app. Yeah. A Traseable app, we had 3 tablets, and we have all of the questionnaires loaded up into the app, and basically to do a baseline survey of the farmers. We know that we are trying to support them through their transition from being a primarily sugarcane farming to cassava and pineapple and other commodities. And we need to understand where they are. What are their needs? What are their number one? They've already said that they want it, but we need to understand them better. And we use Traseable apps to gather those information, and it summarizes it for us. The findings was really interesting to see, especially the questions that how has COVID impact them, and what are some of the things that they've improved during COVID. And a lot of them, at their current level of farming, majority of them said their farming activities increased. Whether it's part of their coping, escape, or just a way to deal with the impact of COVID, they look to the land as a place to go to.
Traseable Solutions Pte Limited is a Fijian tech startup founded in October 2017 by husband and wife team Ken and Shauna Katafono. The Katafonos have over a decade of experience working in technical, leadership, and ICT roles in the Pacific and experience at both national and regional fisheries. They combine their experiences and skills to come up with a solution to some of the challenges faced by the fisheries sector throughout the Pacific region. As Traseable grew over a year with more enthusiastic and like-minded Pacific Islanders joining the team, together their vision for transparency and complete digital traceability of fisheries products leaving Pacific Islands for global markets extended to the agricultural sector. Traseable Solutions are Pacific Islanders working on solving some of the biggest challenges in fisheries and agriculture. In doing this, they are reimagining how technology can be applied to address the provenance and traceability of fisheries and agriculture products entering the global market. They offer innovative traceability solutions to digitally record and track your products from bait to plate or farm to table. Traseable Solutions tell your customers the story about your products.
We have a number of products, so in the fishery space as well as in agriculture. And in the agriculture space, we have a digital agriculture platform called Traseable Farms, which basically consists of a mobile app and a web-based platform. And just recently, we integrated SMS services, so we can start pushing out communications of SMS to farmers and people in the industry. And so we used that platform for a number of things, including, really we were trying to bridge the gap, the information gap that farmers face and agriculture value chain actors face, because sometimes it's difficult to find information for them. Sometimes you're looking at probably one extension officer to 1,000 farmers in Fiji, and not everyone has access to the same technical information, the same training. So we were trying to look at how technology bridges that gap. And then we added things into our platform for market prices and capturing farm recording data. We have a little buy and sell feature where they can post their things electronically. And working with PIFON and farm organizations, we basically created surveys in there to help farm organizations collect data in the field. So through that project with PIFON and with Rise Beyond the Reef, as well as I think it was 5 other farm organizations in four countries, so Fiji, Papua New Guinea, Samoa, and the Solomon Islands, where we started. We were able to register 11,400 farmers onto the platform and survey about 3,000 of those farmers. And basically what that data provides is really good information to PIFON and to Rise Beyond the Reef about the status of their farmers, what they've been facing since COVID, and and then PIFON and the other FOs can target their assistance based on what they're seeing on the ground.
Inspired by the constant need to respond to the ever-changing world and the fear of lagging far behind other developing countries that are already embracing technological advances in agriculture, Shauna and Ken have developed an agriculture value chain application using mobile technology called Traseable Farms. Don't go anywhere. Coming up after the break, we learn more about this new innovative technology. Traseable Farms is the result of a collective effort involving various stakeholders from Fiji's agriculture industry. It is a platform for agriculture value chain stakeholders to connect with one another and access information as well as simple digital tools for improved farm management. Traceable Farms focuses on the following key result areas: access to information, farm management, best practices, market linkages, and product provenance.
So our idea of Traceable Farms is essentially like this one-stop shop for like all things agriculture. So before we ventured into agriculture, because our background is very strong in fisheries, a lot of people actually like approached us in terms of like how traceability can be applied within the agriculture space, but also in other sectors. Yeah? It has, since COVID-19, like we've seen a lot more opportunities for us within the agriculture space, in the sense that, you know, like farm organizations were not able to go out, you know, in person. They weren't able to go collect, and a lot of these farm organizations depend on like funding, yeah, like donor funding to support their activities. And that donor funding is tied to data, yeah, like the type of data they're collecting, they're providing. So that's where Traceable Farms played a key role when we started our project with PFON, and they were keen to use it as a sort of a M&E platform for them to support their M&E efforts. And so since then, they've onboarded some of their farmer organizations, which includes Rise Beyond the Reef. Yeah, and it's been really good. The uptake has been very positive. We do spend quite a bit of time training the farmer organization or farmer groups, getting them comfortable and familiar with, you know, because not everybody has sort of like the same level of you know, experience using technology. So we do a bit of hand holding for some time before they can get, but we always try to make it as simple and as easy as possible for the farmers. Yeah? But yeah, and so since then we've had a lot of, we've done our own surveys ourselves, looking at the users of the app and how the app has sort of like supported or helped them in their agribusinesses or in their journey, and it's been really good to see how through the app they were able, especially during COVID-19, they were able to access information to help them. You know, a lot of people made the transition to backyard gardening and all of that. So having a place where they can access information, simple information, and like I mentioned, it's like we wanted it to be this sort of e-agriculture ecosystem for anybody who's involved in the agriculture sector. From a farmer to like a processor, exporter, you name it. So
Yeah, I think
that is, I guess, the vision and sort of like the long term what we're working towards. But not just in Fiji, like right through the Pacific, and that, you know, and it has proven, like, you know, that it works, and a lot of it too is because we are very well connected from our previous experience across the region. So it's been easy for us to sort of work together with farm organizations within the different countries, Solomon Islands, Samoa, Vanuatu. So yeah, it's been an exciting journey within the agriculture sector for us, and there's just a lot of opportunities, possibilities.
The team worked to enable businesses in developing states to meet quality standards, access new markets, and earn greater revenue for their products. And they do this by leveraging digitization and coupling emerging technology with local knowledge and experience.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting projects that we actually did last year, just after we had launched the platform, was so there was a need to assess. This was I think June last year. So kind of at the start of the COVID-19 epidemic and the lockdowns in the Pacific. One of the things that people wanted to understand was how COVID-19 was affecting the food system. And they basically wanted to collect, see what was happening in terms of food prices at markets. And so we were approached by CTA, an organization from the ACP EU, through IFED funding as well, to basically crowdsource this data using our platform in Fiji, in Solomon Islands, and in Samoa. So what we did was, we worked with a group of people in the different countries, everything done remotely using our app. They went to marketplaces for a period of a month, and then they collected a whole bunch of prices about of the different commodities. And I guess in that month, again, using our platform, we could see which markets they went to. We had, GPS tracking on that. We had these prices, and I think we collected over 30,000 prices across 22 different markets in 3 countries, which was the first of its kind in the Pacific to be done entirely remotely using a digital platform. And that basically provided insight into what was happening in the food system according to COVID-19. So those types of opportunities we're seeing just by laying the foundation for this digital platform, and we see a lot more opportunities in the agriculture sector. Well, we've spoken a lot about farm organizations and farmers. One of the groups we are starting to do a bit more work with is agri-producers. So processing companies. We built a traceability system for Nature's Way Cooperative. You'd be familiar with Nature's Way. So they can track everything that's coming through their facility from farms and out into the export market. We're collaborating with a number of kava exporters, looking at traceability of kava, so just proving the origin of where the kava comes from, as well as showing the quality of it through the supply chain. And there's been a number of opportunities. We also, I guess, have leads in other countries as well. From Australia, we have a couple of companies there that are looking at traceability in their supply chains. And so, I guess just from the idea of traceability, we've been able to expand that to a range of products and a range of sectors that we work in.
Yeah, and we're also starting to look at working within the forestry sector, like traceability of logs. And it's always exciting for us to kind of work with agribusinesses from the Pacific, because we kind of want to support that whole sustainability and transparency of the supply chains of their products, and also marketing the people, the source, and telling a really good story to help these agri businesses access new markets or niche markets, but also just to add a bit more value to their products. So yeah.
I think eventually, what we'd like Traceable Farms to be able to do is to be able to answer any agriculture-related question that anyone has. So that's kind of what we are working on, and which is why we're working with partners, collating a whole bunch of information, and starting to engage farmers more directly.
Yeah.
So that if someone wants to know, okay, what's the price of tomatoes growing in this particular area, they'll approach us.
Yeah.
I had someone message me today asking about, someone in Australia asked me about, what varieties of breadfruit are fruiting now, and who are the processors that they can contact to look to get some exports going. People looking for taro farmers for exports. So we are basically trying to provide that digital platform that can collect all that information, disseminate it, and work with partners like farmers organizations like the Ministry of Agriculture, basically anyone involved in agriculture, so that they can get really good information quickly and in a timely manner, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, coming up after the break, another new innovative technology called Biogas from Israel that's making headway for this community.
To date, we have 31 one-acre farm already planted, and in 6 to 7 months' time, we are ready to export it overseas. Yeah, and that's we can confidently say we are ready to supply 30 containers of cassava to the outside market, and there was also a technology that we are trying to introduce to our farmers. It's called biogas. Biogas, it's a unit that is designed by an Israeli company, and they've used it in there, basically using waste food and animal manure to process liquid compost or liquid fertilizers, and also to supply cooking gas for the family for 4 hours. It's interesting. As we see here, our estimation in these 2 acres, we can say 1 acre, 1 container. Currently, one of these cassava during maturity may give you 5 to 7 kg per plant. But with the input of biogas, liquid compost, this cassava, we can bump it up to produce 15 kg. And those are the contribution of biogas and all of those liquid compost. So instead of saying we can supply 2 containers in these 2 acres, we can say we can supply maybe 3.5, because same size, the volume, the productivity almost double. And then those are the things, as we are trying to support them from intercropping and moving on to other agriculture commodity, we need to support them with inputs that helps the productivity. Right now, in their mind, you can only plant tomatoes and eggplants close by in the low-lying areas, but for those agriculture input, you can plant them in here. So those are the 3 big things that we were being supported to help with these farmers, and it's happening. You can see some, like in this area, we've already applied liquid compost from biogas in here, and you can see the areas that we have not applied to, the difference in the growth rate.
So what exactly is biogas and how does it work? Mesake tells us more.
I'm Mesake. I'm the customer support officer for Pacific Grow, and we implement innovative agriculture technology such as this home biogas system, as well as the drip irrigation and other sustainable technologies to other farmers. Our main focus is empowering farmers, leveraging tradition with technology in trying to improve livelihood and at the same time finding solutions to the current challenges that we are facing everyday life. The system, it helps in building soil health, it helps in environmentally friendly, it helps in health-wise, and also in increasing crops yield for farmers. And this is one of our main objectives in trying to introduce less input but with more output. Yeah. So there's economical and sustainable use of natural resources, for example, water, especially in this dry season.
So Mesake is going to actually show us a demonstration, or rather I'm going to help Mesake with the demonstration of how this biogas actually works. So what do I have to do?
You will need to throw this food waste into the inlet.
So it can be any kind of food waste?
Any form of food waste except citrus produce.
Okay, all right, so there in it goes.
Throw it in.
Right there.
Go.
Okay, and then?
Push it down with that plunge.
With this, to hold it up there?
Yes, push it down.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So keep pushing it down?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And then lock it.
Okay, so there, is that good enough?
Yes,
All right.
That's great.
All right, and I'm locking it in.
Wonderful.
All right, and then what happens?
So once the food goes down,
Yeah.
it goes into the digestion bag.
Okay,
This is the
so
digestion
that's like
bag.
the stomach.
Yes, this is the stomach of the system.
Right,
So it contains water only.
okay.
So in the system, we now have anaerobic bacteria. Once the food comes in, the anaerobic bacteria breaks down all these food particles, and these bacteria, they release methane gas. The methane gas gets collected in the gas bag. So from here, it gets connected through to the house, and we have renewable cooking energy. In addition, we have liquid
there
emitting
it
from
is.
this outflow.
So there's two lines.
Yes.
One is for the gas and one is for the...
Two byproduct. One is for the gas,
Yeah.
another is for liquid organic fertilizer.
Wow. Oh, that's pretty awesome. So, okay, and it just happens in its own time.
Yes. Once the food comes in here,
Yeah.
cow manure, pig manure, horse manure, food waste,
Yeah.
these bacteria, they decompose and break these particles down,
Yeah.
and also it gets dissolved and the nutrients comes out through.
How long would it take roughly?
If I fill this with 2 liters,
Mm-hmm.
I would get 2 liters of liquid fertilizer.
And over time, in hours, maybe like how long?
Each day, there's a maximum number of input.
Yeah.
Reaching then I would be able to get approximately 40 liters of liquid fertilizer a
Okay.
day with 2 to 3 hours of cooking gas.
Okay.
So we have free cooking gas. No need of firewood, reduces cost of getting kerosene and gas,
Yes.
especially in the interior.
Yes.
Eliminates all this transportation cost during wet weather, wet firewood, gives relief.
And that's 2 to 3 hours of
2
cooking.
to 3 hours of cooking gas for 10 to 15 years.
Wow.
To find out more about the FO4ACP project, log on to www.pacificfarmers.com.
Now join me next week as we check out some incredible tilapia farms. We'll see you then.